Cheat Code. Hello, people. Welcome to Pickleball Cheat Code, the show for competitive pickleball players who want to level up their game. We focus on advanced strategies for experienced players, stuff only the pros really know. I'm Brody Smith. I'm a 5.5 duper and a coach, and I'm here with my co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, Tanner Tomasi.
Let's go. How's it going?
Tanner is a 6.0 duper and APP national bronze medalist. Today, we're covering everything you need to know to prepare and strategize for your next tournament. Maybe it's your first tournament. Maybe it's your 800th tournament. Whatever it might be, we're going to be breaking it down. Also, we want to include you in the show. Leave us a voicemail with a question that you have for us, for Tanner and I, and we will answer it. So leave a voicemail via memo.fm/PCC. We will listen to these in an upcoming episode and answer all of your questions and, give you guys your cheat codes live. Tanner, let's go.
Let's do it.
All right, Tanner, let's set the stage here. You and I are playing our next tournament together, the one you've been dying to do. We're so excited to do this. Me and you are playing the next PPA. Let's say it's a week or two from now. We're partners. What do we need to do to get ready? How are we going to set ourselves up for success so we go out there and dominate, besides me taking 90% of the ball since everyone's going to be targeting me? Besides that, what is something that you like to do going into a tournament? You have a week to prepare. You know your partner. What do you like to do to get ready?
The way I would get ready if I'm playing, let's say it's a first-time partnership, we're playing a tournament next week, we have a week to prepare.
Yep.
The number one thing is to play as many rec games together as possible against as many different styles as possible.
Ooh,
meaning
I like that.
People that bat, like bangers that rip the ball, people that dink, people that just every different style of play. And then you want to try to locate what your team's weaknesses are and what your strengths are. And then kind of like have a mental checklist, go over it with your partner. Okay, my strength is this, your strength is that. Okay, we're not good here, we're not good there. And then you can kind of formulate a game plan around your strengths and try to minimize playing the weaknesses.
I like that. So going back to the first thing you said, as many rec games as you can. So usually I try to be like, let's find the best players in an area and just try to grind with them, which obviously is a great thing to do. But I think the different styles thing is huge because you might be playing against the best players in your area, but they're mainly doing consistent dinking and they don't miss a dink, right? Which is great to practice against. But then your first round, you might go against a banger and you're like, holy shit, we didn't prepare for this. I'm not ready. I think that's a really good tip. So I love that. And then the other thing I wanted to touch on was you said mainly rec games. For me, I feel like drilling is still key. Obviously drilling is so important. Drilling is like the most important thing you can do to get better in pickleball. But with a partnership, I'm still trying to drill with my partner and grind out our weaknesses. So maybe my backhand dink isn't great and you're trying to grind me out and work on that. What's the ratio of drilling versus rec games when you go into it? What do you say?
I believe that drilling is really like fine tuning. Like if your backhand dink sucks, you're probably not going to fix it in a week.
Okay. Well,
you know what I mean?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So like you can drill for yourself, with your partner, with somebody else, whatever, just to kind of fine tune yourself. But I'd say like a week out from a tournament, I'm going to do my own drilling on my own time. And then I'm going to try to play with my partner to try to replicate the game. Because really like the drills don't do anything except help you get better.
That's true.
Where team chemistry is so important in order to be successful as a team. If you lack that, you're really going to struggle in the actual game, especially under pressure situations.
Yeah. So it's almost like it's too late to drill per se, because we need to focus on is us and what we do best and how to win based off our play styles, right? And
if you miss one in every, say you miss one in every 7 backhand dinks, even if you're playing with Ben Johns, you're gonna lose the first round of the tournament. Like there's no way you're gonna win even playing with the best player.
What if I get really dead dinks and I'm just surviving?
Yeah, so you'd lose the first round of the tournament.
God damn it. Okay, so let's break that down further then. So you and I, we're gonna be partners, right? We need to prepare together. We have that week to prepare. We're going to be getting rec games, playing against bangers, people that dink. What do we need to do from a strategy perspective going into that, in terms of like who takes what ball, what patterns we're running? How do you build that out?
Yeah, you're going to let it just free flow naturally to start to see like who is the one that's more actionable at taking the third shot? Who's the one that's hitting the third shot drive? Who's the better poacher?
Yeah.
And then I think that kind of develops itself within the first couple.
I was gonna say develops while you're doing the week prior of rec games, right? That's when it's developing.
Like I think it just develops itself in the sense of like you'll do what you're naturally good at, and your partner will do naturally what they're good at. And then on some balls, like you might clang heads, and then like that's the one that you might like clash paddles, and that's the shot that you discuss. But I know like for me naturally, like being on the right, I don't have the best drive. Like my weakness, I'd say, of my game is power. So normally since I'm lefty, normally the left side partners I play with, they all have a good drive because they're used to taking that. So I normally just naturally fade off of that and look to poach off of their drive because the lefty catches the opponents by surprise. So I think like that, and then say with the dinks, like with you have that weird grip that, like, so maybe I'll take a little more dinks from the middle. And I think all of that naturally like comes to play. And then if we clash or like you like a certain shot that I also like, that's when we're going to actually discuss of like, okay, how about in this scenario, I take it. Okay. I could give you a prime example. Like from this past week, I played at the APP Cincinnati. We made it to the quarterfinals.
Let's go.
I'm playing with my partner, Mark Danquart. He has very good fourth ball power, very good consistency with that, which means like the opponents are hitting the third shot drop. Mark is really good at leaning in and applying really strong pressure out of the air. Like,
so you're going to give him more court, essentially. You're just going to slide and let him take it.
So basically, whenever whenever the opponent hits a drop, like I say, like, oh, you Mark, like take it, stay with it, like during the point, and he's coming super far on my side because it's such a strength.
Yeah.
Of his to build off. Not that it's a weakness of mine, but it's just such a strength of his. Another prime example of that is we had a point where we were at the net, the opponents were back, the opponents were scrambling, and Mark was just smashing overheads, and the other team kept lobbing it up. I was telling Mark, he has a tennis background, his strength is overhead power, anything. I was like, when they were lobbing it up, I was like, Mark, stay with it, stay with it. And I was like completely off the court, and he was on my side hitting the overheads. And we eventually won it. And they were hitting like sky high lobs. And he's able to accurately time it and boom. Which I didn't play much tennis. I'd be likely to miss that ball that high,
That's a good point. There's so many little things. So I guess to sum that up, what you just said is just lean into each other's strengths as best as you can. And having that time to prepare for that whole week is going to help build that. What if you have a blind date? Me and you, let's say we don't know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and I tell you that I'm just the better player and let me take over. But essentially what we're going to be doing, like maybe we're texting back and forth, and I'll be like, hey, I'm really good at angle dinks and thirds. And you're like, I'm really good at this. Is that kind of how you would build that for a blind date? Just telling each other their strengths and weaknesses and just building a game plan that way? Is that the best way to go about it?
Yeah, the blind dates are almost a recipe for disaster at the higher levels. At the lower levels, maybe not so.
You can get away with it at a lower level, but higher level, it's
tough. Higher level, you like need chemistry, or you're going to be in trouble against the teams that do have chemistry. However, I would say like yes, if you're communicating through text or through a phone call, I would kind of just like I would say to my partner, like, hey, so like I've done this in the past. I'm like, yeah, like what are your strengths? Like, what do you prefer? Do you like the banging? Like I'd start out like very broad and generic. Like what's your play style? Do you like the banging, or do you rather like long grindy points? Do you like to speed up off the bounce? Do you like to attack out of the air? Like what do you like to do? What's your favorite shots? And then I kind of just formulate my game around that and kind of fill in the holes, just because I personally, even if I'm the better player, I always want my partner to feel very good and confident and be able to do what they're best at, so they perform in the best, where I'm comfortable adapting.
Yeah. What are your thoughts when you're strategizing to have like a team identity? Like we're going to be the bangers, we're going to be the soft game, we're going to be grinding out every point. Because I feel like as a tournament goes on, you look around and you like, they have that plan going for them. Those guys are doing that. We need to look out for this. Or do you kind of prefer, like if you had to choose, doing the same strategy as your partner, you're both bang and crash, you're both grind out, or having a little bit of a good cop, bad cop style where one's going to be the aggressor and one's going to be the consistent guy, which, oftentimes will be the player on the right. What are your thoughts there? Because I feel like there's pros and cons of both, depending on who you're playing with and who you're playing against.
Is the question like keeping one identity or switching it throughout? One
identity going into it, as in like both bangers, or having a good cop, bad cop. But then that's another question too. So we'll get into what you just said as well.
Yeah, the The best team is like fire and ice, good cop, bad cop.
Okay.
One's the attacker, one is the more passive player. You
I
need
feel like
somebody.
too.
You're never going to beat teams if both people are just super passive. Like maybe you'll pull off some wins here and there, but like against better teams, you need to be the aggressor. And I'm talking like from the level that I'm playing.
Yeah,
If you're a 4.0, this might not apply to you, but
true.
this whole podcast is structured around like, all right, I'm playing the best people. So that's how I'm answering the question.
It does. Yeah. I mean, it really depends because at 4 below, it could mean just not missing a ball and you could win your tournament with that. Right. You know, like
Yeah.
that could be the recipe for a win is just even if there's some dead dinks, but if you're getting every single ball back and you're both passive, that can work. Like it for sure can work. But like you're saying, at the highest level, you need to have both. You need to have at least somebody, at least one person needs to be the aggressor.
Yeah. One person needs firepower
Yeah.
and one person just needs to be the rock, I think.
And when you say firepower, does that mean speed ups, drives, misdirection, body?
Yeah, not misdirection, maybe misdirection,
Yeah,
but drives, speed ups, attacks off the bounds, lobs. Like you just need to have your opponents on their toes.
Mhm.
If nobody on the team is ever attacking, it just gives your opponents a layer of security and safety. And you just want people to always feel pressure on every shot.
What about two aggressors? What are your thoughts there? Versus
that could
fire and
be-
ice, fire and fire.
Fire and fire. I think as long as it's controlled aggression, like it can be good. There could be some points where you just go like maniacs, but as long as you can kind of assess if that's working, continue doing it. But if it's not working, our fire and fire is good, but we need to tone it down a little bit and just have a little less.
Yeah, because with that strategy, I feel like you can go into a tournament and beat anybody when you're playing fire, but you can also lose to anybody. It's like going to a basketball game and you're only shooting threes. It's like, it's going to you're either going to lead with it and crush it, or it's just going to be your Achilles heel. That's a good point. Fire. Okay. Yeah, no, that's good. And then what about, like having a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C? Because I know you've talked about before multiple times, and I think it's really smart, is coming out with a plan A of being aggressive. Like both of you and your teammate are driving, crashing, and then you would adjust. So do you have like a 1, 2, 3 bullet point plan that you're coming through for a tournament and then something to fall back on?
I would say the way I structure my plan is just kind of assessing the opponents that we're playing and like seeing where our strengths would match up with their weaknesses. So like, I wouldn't say I have like a set plan of like, all right, if this doesn't work, then we're going to do this. It's kind of like an ever flowing and evolving strategy and structure. But the base plan is always assessing the other team, if you know them, assuming you know them. And then like, okay, well, they struggle here, so let's try this. If you don't know the opponents, I would just do what we do every other game. Like I wouldn't plan at all. I would just plan, let it flow, and then develop the plan on the move.
Yeah. That's key. I think that's good for the strategy side of things. I was going to transition to some other parts as well. Do you think there's anything else we need to cover from the strategy aspect of going into a tournament?
No, I think that was good for that.
Because one thing I wanted to talk about too was, so we have that week that me and you prepare together, right? We did everything that you talked about. So much of it is clearly going to come from just reps with different styles of play. And then you intelligently break it down together, figuring out what works best, what didn't, being patient, and then leaning into that as much as you can to try to rely on your strengths. Night before a tournament, this is one of the biggest pieces of advice that I've had to work on for myself to improve my game. Is it's so easy, whether it's your first tournament, maybe I'm playing with Tanner and I'm jacked up. I'm like, dude, Tanner's such a good looking guy. He's such a good player. I can't wait to be on the court with this dude. There's that wink I was looking for. Point being, I'd be pumped, right? Seriously, I'd be jacked up. I'd get too excited. That's the problem, is that people get too excited going into a tournament. Tournaments are so much fun. It's so fun playing competitively. Everybody drills all the time. People love this sport so much. So it's really, really easy to get jacked up and excited. But that can be a problem, right? Because that same line of thinking creates, subconscious anxiety and you don't even realize it. And it's going to have you play a little bit tight. So I guess my piece of advice is don't get too jacked up for a tournament. I think it's really important to underplay it. Treat it like you're going to go play rec the next day. Treat it like it's not a big deal. Like, obviously, we want to do the right things. You need to get some good sleep. Have a good meal. We're not going out and partying, because if I play with bad sleep or if I play hungover, I turn into an immediate 1.5 player. So I can't do that. So I have to know I'm popping some melatonin. I'm getting some good rest. Those are so important. But not getting too excited for a tournament and not building up this moment in your head of how big of a deal this is going to be is my number one piece of advice that I have for people when I coach, and something that I've had to really teach myself.
Yeah, that's great. I especially say to myself in like pressure situations, or I'll say to my partner, say it's like 8-8 in the third game. It's very close. This game determines if we fly home or move on in the tournament. I'll try to like say to my partner, especially when we're coming out of a timeout, like just try to imagine it's just kind of like a mental framework shift of like, try to imagine like this is just another rec play day. I especially will say that like I said, coming out of a timeout, it's 8-8, game 3, and like it's our serve, say 8-8-2. I'm like, all right, let me take this third shot drop. I'm feeling good. I mentally structured myself in the frame of this is just a day at the park. And then when I do that, it really does like help me like feel like like all the weight comes off my shoulders.
It helps a ton. It's just those little things of, it adds up like crazy. So let's say you can't get good sleep, right? It's midnight. You look at the clock, you're not asleep yet. You got plenty of energy. We know midnight's when those brackets are typically dropping, but maybe we play at 8 a.m. We see the bracket. What do? Maybe it's somebody that you've never heard of before. You see John and Tim on there, right? And you look at their duper history and they've played some friends of yours. Me personally, I'm texting my friends every single time. I'm saying, give me that damn lowdown right now. What are their weaknesses? It's the little things like that. I've won some key matches because of this. Somebody's like, yeah, go attack their inside foot, or speed up every ball to Tim. He sucks with drives and speed ups. So I think it's really important to do a scouting report if you can. Not everybody's going to be given that luxury, but if you're respectfully asking people around and they're willing to help give you that tidbit of information, I think it's important to scout. But obviously for you, when you're, your brackets, you're playing some people that I feel like everybody you're playing against in a way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say I usually don't check the draw. I did when I first started playing, but the more experience I got is when I stopped, just because it psychs you out. It gets in your head. And sometimes like if you're playing a good player, a good team, it'll make you like, you even think to yourself like,
that's
man,
true.
Why am I even going? Like you're psyching yourself out of it before it even starts. So I think it's best. The confidence, it doesn't matter who you're playing. If you have confidence, you can beat anybody. I personally don't check it. I just show up and then kind of learn it on the fly, or if somebody tells me, that's fine. But I used to worry about it. Now I don't check it at all for any.
It's kind of badass. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Just, I don't care. Doesn't matter. Let's go. It's Tanner time, right?
Let's go. Yeah.
No matter what. All right. Morning of. We get there. Let's say tournament's at 8 a.m. What time are you showing up at? 6, 7? What do you like to do?
No, I'll get there like 6:45.
Yeah, it's a good time. I feel like some people get there way too early. Some people way too late. If I'm playing at 8, I like to get there at 7:15. I don't need a long warm up. All I need is a banana, some water, an energy bar. That's all I need, and then I'm ready to go. What are you doing for warming up and preparing with your partner? And like, are you just doing a ton of stretching, drilling, rec games? What do you like to do right before you start?
I'd say for the first like 30 so-ish minutes, so from like say 6:45 to 7:15, I would be like just completely getting my body warm and ready to go, to make sure I don't have an injury, especially if it's early in the morning or if our bodies are cold, you're more prone to an injury. So I make sure my body is completely warmed up for any like fast twitch movements. And then I'd say from like 7:15 to 7:40 or to 7:45, so about a half hour, I'm just warming up. We're doing a typical long warm up, hit the dinks, drops, resets, serve, skinny singles, and then try to play games within that 30-minute window. So maybe like 15 minutes of an extended warm up, 15 minutes of games, and you're ready to go.
Yeah, I feel like it's key to find another team out there and get some games going, because if you don't, as soon as you start, seeing your partner, and it can be easy to get a little jittery there versus just doing skinny singles.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, Tanner. I feel like we covered that well. I feel like what I just did, I don't know if you realized it, was a subconscious way of getting you ready to play a tournament with me. So I think this is...
I'm down to play a local one. I just don't want to play like an APP or PPA. But I'll tell you what, I'll be in California for the Newport tournament in a couple of weeks. I think it's July 2nd to 6th. I'm down. Find one the week before. I'll come out a week early and we'll play.
Who knows when this episode's going to even drop, but okay. Wait, what tournament is that? Is that APP?
Newport, yeah.
So you already have. So you're saying you'll play APP Newport with me?
A local around that weekend, yes.
All right, so a local money ball. Fine.
Yes.
What if it's duper recorded? Will you still do it?
Yeah. I don't care about the duper because APP doesn't put it in anymore.
Oh, that's true. How do you feel about that, by the way?
They should put it in. It's foolish to have 2 rating systems, I think, but whatever.
Yeah. I mean, not to take a shot at either rating system, but just in general, no, I agree. It's like having not one uniform rating system. It drives me nuts. So
it doesn't make much sense.
Hopefully for the sport in the future, APP, PPA, if you're listening to this, duper, UTR, let's kumbaya. Let's all love one another and let's get together and have one uniform rating system. Sincerely, every single pickleball player out there. Okay. End of the episode. Let's wrap this up. Blind ranking. So Tanner has no idea what I'm throwing at him. He's going to be ranking 1 through 5, his pre-tournament go-to snacks, right? I might throw at him a cheeseburger and he says, cheeseburger's my number 1. He can't remove that slot. Cheeseburger's stuck at number 1, and then he has to rank the other ones. He doesn't know what's coming next, which makes it difficult. I might throw something like dog poop. You have no idea. Or it could be all really great, yummy snacks, right? So we'll start 5 slots. Pre-tournament snack. You're going to a tournament. Let's say the tournament's at 11 in the morning. Okay. First one, breakfast burrito.
Oh, wait, the tournament's at what time?
It's at 11 a.m.
Breakfast. I'd say that's a great one. I would put that probably pretty high. I'd say that's number 1.
Number 1. Okay. What do you put in your breakfast burrito? Are you like an egg bacon guy? Egg and cheese?
Yeah, just egg, bacon,
Simple.
The whole 9.
God, eggs are awful. Okay. Next one, peanut butter sandwich.
5.
You not like peanut butter?
Not 11 a.m. Like it's starting that early.
It's good carbs, good protein, gets you going.
I probably wouldn't eat that.
Okay, next one. A banana and a breakfast bar, like a protein bar.
That's my actual normal.
That's my normal too. That's my go-to.
Yeah. I'd say that'd be number 2. I'd say the list is accurate so far. Yeah.
Okay. Next one. Coffee and a donut.
Ooh. Did I already use the 5 spot?
You already used the 5 spot.
That's definitely the 5. I'd say 4. I don't drink coffee and I don't eat donuts.
I can't have coffee before a tournament because it gets me too jittery, but I have coffee every single day. So I'll have it after the tournament. But anyway, yeah, that's just my personal thing. Some people need coffee or energy drinks before. Some people
before they get going,
chugging Celsius or C4 and it's crazy.
That's number 3.
Number 3, this is your number 3. It's going to be a Chick-fil-A sandwich and waffle fries. That's it.
Oh, yeah. I'd say it's like an accurate list. I mean, yeah, maybe I just want to switch like the peanut butter jelly and the coffee, but besides that, I think it's an accurate list.
All right. Well, I'm excited. That was our first blind ranking, so we got more great ones to come. I feel like you did a good job there. Breakfast burrito 1 right out the gate. I feel like you handled that really well. I kind of want to test the waters there.
You were trying to catch me off guard.
Trying to catch you off guard. All right. You handled it like a champ. Okay, Tan, that was great. Can't wait to play our next tournament together. What we'll do maybe is we'll do a whole video breakdown for a future pod episode. This is great content from our match, and we'll coach each other, see what our cheat codes need to be, and break it down from there. So I'm looking forward to that. I think
that could be a good thing for the podcast's sake. I am down to do that.
That's why I started this podcast, just so I could do that. Everything I'm doing in my life is a slow play to build this. I'm psyched.
Good.
Okay. All right, Tan, that was fun.
Wait, are you playing the APP?
No, I'm not. I'm still nomading around. By the time that's happening, I'm going to be in Canada, I think.
Oh, then we won't be playing. Okay.
All right. But I'll find you and we'll make it happen. All right. All right. Good stuff, Tanner. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thanks, guys.